Hello, I am Encaliado Adeline Racy of STEM 12R. Today we'll be diving deep into the rich realm of literature, which we discussed in class, exploring the stories, characters, and ideas that captivated my heart. We first discussed the beautifully crafted prose of fiction, from the three flash fiction sets to the longer novels. My first takeaway is that I thought that with the shortening of the flash fictions, the essence of the stories will be sacrificed. But I was wrong. Actually, because they were shorter, they were able to focus on a single idea. This constraining of word count means that each word, sentence, or scene of the stories were carefully selected, making them more powerful. Prosody Lesson by Paul S. de Guzman was actually the shortest of the flash fiction set. When I first saw it, I didn't have much expectation, but it was actually excellently written, with just a short narration of a glimpse about their someone else. They just stated a woman in a bedroom and a man in a car without clearly indicating the situation. But these short hints actually made me think as a reader, which generated in me a stronger reaction when I finally realized for myself what happened in the story. My next takeaway is that the progression of a story's plot plays a crucial role. Through well constructing the conflict, obstacles, and rising action, it can generate suspense and tension, which keeps readers invested in the story and eager to know what happens next. Also, plot twists and unexpected turns can amplify these feelings, enhancing the reader's emotional connection to the narrative. This can be seen in Cougar by Maria Cynthia C. Youngson, which talks about a woman who in her 40s already looks young for her age. But in her pursuit of looking much younger by applying a cream to her face, it resulted to her looking much older. This shows the situational irony, which was unexpected for me, and it elevated the story much more. Third, I noticed how the development of the characters of a story are indeed important. The characters are the backbone of a story. Well-developed and relatable characters can evoke a range of emotions to us readers. By creating dynamic and nuanced readers, authors can make readers feel empathy, sympathy, or joy, or even anger. In The Cat of Stars by Dean Francis Alfar, Maria's determination and bravery resonated with me as she persevered for her dreams. However, as the story progressed and the characters evolved, I was displeased by Maria's decisions and how she chose to sacrifice her life over a moment of being seen by a boy. I then sympathized with the butcher's boy as he stayed by Maria's side despite not being seen. This connection I felt with the characters elicited in me a range of emotions which enhanced my reading experience. Now let's move on to the thought-provoking poetries. First, we shouldn't really rush through a poem. We should take our time to read each line and really think about what it means. We can't just read a poem once then have a full grasp of it. It doesn't work that way. Poems need to be read a lot before you can understand them. We should look at something as simple as the stanzas or line breaks, which could contribute to the essence of the poem. The poem Fire by Marjorie Evasco was really long that it required immense comprehension of the several lines before you can figure out what was really happening. At first, the poem didn't really make any sense to me, but that was because I didn't really understand it. Looking at the stanzas, I realized that it wasn't written in a chronological order, as I missed the simple details such as the persona presently being in a stadium and was just reminiscing his past with his abuelita. My second takeaway is that poems are not meant to be read in a single, literal way. They can be interpreted in various ways, and the meaning can change depending on the reader's own experiences and insights. This is because poems are often dense with meaning, and they use language in a very creative and figurative way. In order to fully appreciate a poem, you need to be familiar with the symbolism, figures, imagery, or word choice used in the poem. The Beach plus Pablo by Alfred Houston contained a lot of figurative language which revolves around the persona, Pablo, and the beach. It is a kind of poem that you wouldn't really understand if you don't understand the figurative meaning behind it. Lastly, it is important to analyze who the persona is in poems before we can truly understand it. By finding out the perspective from which the poem is written, we will be able to find its meaning, themes, and messages. Through the persona's experiences and emotions, readers can find common ground and gain a deeper appreciation for the human condition expressed in the poem. By identifying the persona, knowing what situation he has or whether it was resolved, I came to understand the poem more, just like in Stopping by the Woods by Robert Frost. After reading the first stanzas, you wouldn't find out what kind of person the persona is, which makes reading incomplete, as we wouldn't able to understand it. But after knowing that the persona is a traveler who had promised to go somewhere, it made sense how he continued to travel despite his appreciation of nature. Next, let's tackle the suspenseful dramas. First, by primarily using dialogue, drama has the potential to elicit a strong emotional response from the readers. As the characters engage in conversations and arguments, their words convey the emotions and intentions more profoundly, making us empathize with their experiences. Dialogue in drama can capture the essence of realistic conversations, making the characters and situations more relatable and believable. This absence of narration allows for a more direct and immediate connection between the characters and us, the audience. In Ang Paglilitis ni Mang Serapio by Paul Dumol, as the drama progressed and the dialogues became more intense, it made me more immersed in the story. Simply with the dialogues alone, I can imagine the emotions being expressed by the characters, in which I can sympathize with them, especially Mang Serapio and his struggles due to the Federation's oppression. It also ignited anger in me because of how the other characters responded to Mang Serapio's laments. My next takeaway is that themes in drama is important as it gives a deeper meaning and significance to the story and characters. By delving into love, power, identity, and oppression, it can provoke thoughts to us audience and offer insights about the world we live in. Drama is a vehicle for understanding complex emotions and conflicts that can resonate with us, as seen in Pilipinos Kong Mahal with All the Overcoat by L.J. Castro. This play is an attempt to strip away the layers of the country's identity and to delve into its complexities. It touched upon themes of social norms and the challenges faced by Filipinos, especially when it comes to misinformation. It was very entertaining, where we can also learn something about the world around us. Lastly, I see how important the visual and oral elements are in a play. Drama combines visual and auditory elements to convey emotional depth. Facial expressions, body language, and vocal intonations can powerfully communicate emotions without the need for explicit dialogue. Watching the two dramas in YouTube, seeing the different settings, props, and the actors conveying the right emotions created a whole different experience for me, which heightened my watching experience. Now let's talk about my 3 takeaways from class lectures. Before attempting to understand a literary work, it is crucial to first read the entire text with attentiveness. We should really take into consideration all the words and simple details put by the author for us to fully grasp its meaning. Next, when delving into any literary work, it's imperative to not only appreciate the final product, but also to understand the elements that make up the work. By understanding the foundational elements such as plot, character development, and setting, we gain insight into the author's intentions and hidden meanings of the work. When we know the elements of a literary work, we can start to see how they all work together perfectly to create a meaningful piece. Literature is a reflection of society and human experiences. After delving into the different modules in class, I can really see how a well-written literary work can contribute and make a difference in the world, as it makes us visit places, experience events, meet people, listen to them, feel their joys and sufferings. Now let's move on to the question: how will my learning and insights from class contribute to my development as an individual and a member of society? Well, first, literature can be a powerful force for personal growth and development. All these modules and stories and poems that we covered definitely broadened my knowledge and understanding of people different from me. These simple literary pieces were able to introduce to me new cultures, emotions, points of view, and ways of thinking, which I know can help me to better understand the world around me and to develop a more well-rounded perspective. They were also able to develop my critical thinking skills. As I learned how to analyze and interpret these very complex texts, my imagination and creativity were definitely put to test. By figuring out the underlying meaning of the stories and poems, I have gained skills and found myself improving over time. This would undoubtedly be of a big help in my future pursuits. Moreover, studying these various elements of fiction and literary helped me develop my own writing skills, as I was exposed to various literature techniques that I can utilize in my own endeavors in contributing to the world. Now that concludes my video blog. I would like to thank our teacher, Mr. Solapco, for his valuable teaching. Once again, I am Encaliado Aline Ray C. Goodbye.